A fourth ransom note has been sent in the Nancy Guthrie case. In this video, I'm going to tell you what I believe this all means. Welcome to Criminal Motives. My name is Matthew Pfeiffer. I'm a therapist, coach, author, and I give my thoughts and reactions on different things that are happening in the news and also in true crime. Let's get into this next video together, and I'll give you my thoughts afterwards.
It is Monday morning. We have received a fourth letter from the same person who says that he knows where Nancy Guthrie is and he wants money in return for the information. Essentially, he wants the reward. So I have something to say to you. And I've already talked to the FBI about this, that if you are not real, you're committing a crime, and you should know that. And this is a serious federal crime. If you are real, this is the fourth letter you've sent, and I should tell everybody that in this letter, it says, I know what I saw 5 days ago south of the border, and I was told to shut up, so I know who he is, and that was definitely Nancy with them. This is the second time he has referred to more than one person involved in this. He said there is a main person and there are others, and he said it here. He is saying that Nancy was taken to Mexico. Now, this is what he's saying. I'm not going to vouch for him, but this is the fourth letter. We have sent them all on to the FBI. And he also says one of the reasons he's worried about coming forward is he has a record. He has a burglary on his record from 10 years ago. So I don't know if you're real or not, if you're watching this, but if you are, and I have told the FBI that we're going to do this, they know this, that if you're worried about getting this money, and you really do have this information, send it to us. You're sending us these letters. Send it to us. We will forward it to the FBI. And that way there's a record that we have that you supplied this information. If they find her and they find the kidnapper, then at least there is evidence, because we have it, that you're the one who provided the information. So this is a way for you to get that money if this really is legitimate. Send us the information. We will pass it on to the FBI. Okay, that said, a couple of points. One is the glove. I hope that glove has DNA that leads authorities to this kidnapper. But it is weird to me, because if somebody is at that house and they take Nancy and they get in a car to drive off, the first thing they're going to do is take the gloves off, because it's real hard to drive with gloves like that. And if the gloves go off and they're placed in the car, how does it end up 2 miles away on the side of the road? It just is weird. It just is OJ-esque and doesn't make sense. And the other thing is that, there are different theories here about, was this a burglary? Was this a ransom? As you know, we and several others have received ransom notes, and the FBI is keenly interested in these notes. I can tell you that. This seems a weird type of burglary, because if it were a burglary, number one, why would somebody be dressed head to toe that way? And number two, if it's a burglary and somebody wants to go in and root around for jewelry or whatever, it would seem to be difficult opening drawers and grabbing things with gloves like that. And if you take the gloves off, then you're going to put your fingerprints on something. So what's the point of gloves in the first place? So this does not feel like a burglary, somebody dressed head to toe with gloves like that. And if it were a burglary, the easiest thing to do, if they knew anything about Nancy, is she goes to church. They could have just gone in on Sunday morning when she was at church. So this just doesn't feel like a burglary. That's my opinion. That is not fact. I have talked to one law enforcement source um, who is like-minded in that. But I want to end by repeating that if the person who has sent us these 4 demand letters is real, and I'm questioning whether you are, but if you are, then send us the information. We will immediately pass it on to the FBI. Then you have a record that you're the one, if it's legit, who led them to Nancy and the kidnappers, and that will help you get the money.
All right, welcome back. So there's obviously a lot going on in this case. So we have this person that is trying to cash in on the reward. We have a lot of people that are trying to take advantage of the situation, that are trying to not only monetize but trying to capitalize on this situation, whether it be monetary gain or whether it be through accolades. Because when I say that people are trying to capitalize on this, I'm not talking about just the potential burglars and people who have information. I'm also talking about people in the media, police people, FBI authorities. We've seen people who are we've heard about the FBI and the local police department who are in conflict with things like the evidence and whether or not the local police department is sharing evidence with the FBI. There were some reports about that coming out in this situation where they're keeping this in the light and keeping this open, where there's so much so much kept secret and kept in the dark. I think this is the right move in this situation, especially this late in the game, because in the beginning there was so much secrecy around this entire scenario. We still don't know exactly what was in the original ransom notes and those sorts of things. But in this scenario, where they're trying to pull this person out into the light or get some sort of evidence, I think that this also speaks to the fact that they really don't have a lot of information. I don't believe anything that anyone is saying about this case. I don't think that they have very much information. I think that in a lot of scenarios they really botched this case. I've heard of different scenarios where delivery people were able to go in and out of the house or up to the house. The pool people, I mean, it was not considered a crime scene for many days or several hours of the investigation. They put up crime scene tape. Then they took the crime scene tape down. They allowed so much to happen that I don't even feel comfortable even knowing whether or not the evidence had been tampered with or if the evidence had been compromised in this type of situation. I really feel that even if they did find the person, that there's been this case has been mishandled so badly from the beginning that a defense attorney would possibly get a person off, even if they did, even hopefully they do find the person. But I believe that they would probably get off because this entire case has been mishandled so poorly. The glove that they found, there's also several other gloves in that field. So I don't even feel like that's a really strong piece of evidence. Just the other day, they detained 3 people, and they make this big whoopla about the fact that they detained 3 people. And guess what? They ended up releasing all 3 people. They detained the DoorDash driver not too long ago. They ended up releasing him. They continuously, and that's the reason why, and that's what I mean when I say that that people are trying to capitalize on this case because of the celebrity in this case, obviously with not only with Nancy but also with Savannah. So people are trying to get their name out there. People are trying to be the hero in this situation. And I think that because there are so many egos involved in this situation, that it's causing harm in this situation. And I hope I'm wrong here, but I believe that if Nancy at one point in time could have or would have been safe or would have been returned safely, that door at this point, because of her health issues, likely is now shut. And again, I hope I'm wrong here, but the likelihood of her being returned in good condition, unharmed, living, is very, very slim at this point, once again, because of her health issues. And I believe that a lot of this comes down to the inability for people to set their egos aside and truly actually search for Nancy. I want to touch also on the whole burglary thing. I don't believe that this is a botched burglary. I don't, and I don't know who brought this up. I don't know why this is a thing that people are talking about. I believe that if this were a botched burglary, I believe that, because typically when you see botched burglaries, they end up taking the person out right then and there in the home. That's what botched burglaries look like. Typically, a botched burglary, they're going into a home and they don't expect for the person to be home, and that person is, and so they end up taking that person out, or they end up running off altogether. But very rarely, if ever, do they actually kidnap the person. Right? If you're a burglar, right, and it's a botched burglary, you don't have the plans or the means to kidnap especially an 84-year-old woman. Don't think that the behavior of the perpetrator and the fact that we still can't find Nancy, I don't think that that alludes to any sort of botched burglary. But let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Also, if you want to hear some things that I have to say about some other cases that may not make the news, make sure you subscribe to my Substack, linked in the description box down below. And with all that being said, thank you very much, and I will see you in the next video. You guys have a good one.